Hello, party people. Hey, it's your host, Matt Morgan, and how are you doing today? How are you today? So, anyways, here I am. It is another fine day, and you're listening to another episode of Car Musings. How are you doing? What's new and exciting? So, you know, I guess if any of you have stuck around long enough to listen to my episodes, there's up and down ones, right? There's good ones, there's bad ones, all depends on which way the wind's blowing on certain days. And I'm going through some struggles trying to get back on my feet again. And I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I got a plan. So, with that being said, as I was talking about, I think in one of my last episodes, is making a plan. Which I would be a hypocrite if I wasn't following my own advice, right? You gotta, if you're going to put your advice out there, make sure you're willing to follow your own advice. So I've decided, you know what? I said, Matt Morgan, that's it. Make sure you follow your own advice and let's get the ball rolling. So, interestingly enough, we live in an interesting world where there's a whole bunch of imitations, right? There's the original and then there's the imitation. And if you dig deep enough, you don't get all like starry-eyed from the shiny and the new and this and that and everything else. You'll actually find that a lot of stuff is quote unquote either copycatted or what they call in the tech field white boxed. Interestingly enough, it seems to be that world anymore. Nothing's actually genuine. Yeah, there is the original that came out, whatever, but usually it's white box. Somebody comes up with the design, they sell the rights to other people, they probably make more money that way. Whatever the case may be. So I started thinking, you know what? I'm making a plan. So I looked into stuff. I had a few buddies in the States give me some suggestions with some of my plans to implement them and stuff like that. And I'm like, can't really do all that because things work a little differently in Canada. But interestingly enough, by watching reviews and watching other sources of information and everything else, I discovered that one of my plans was actually going to unfold in a better way, because the thing is that I found out that some of the equipment I was looking to get was actually white boxed, which was a completely out of left field situation. When I watched a review on something I was going to purchase, but then they did the review and they were like, oh, and I don't know if any of you know, but they're like, there's this name here on this. And I'm like, oh, that seems kind of odd. Why would a company that's so proud of their name have another company's name on? And then, of course, the history unfolds about that particular company. So you learn more about them. You do a little research. You do a little digging, which I did, which is kind of cool. It's kind of cool. You dig a little deeper and you find out that, you know what, you could pay for what you were looking to get at that inflated price with the shiny and everything else. Or you can be a little more particular about it. And sometimes used works really well. And I guess sometimes things just happen for a reason and timing has to be everything, right? So needless to say, one of my situations of something I was going to get cost me about a fraction, a third of the price for what I would have got if I had to pay full from the actual original source I was going to get it from. A third of the price. I was like, damn, I could turn around and resell all this for double what I would pay for it and still be ahead of the game. But I'm like, no. I'm like, and sometimes it's just a matter. It's funny how the universe works. When you make a plan and start the process, some things just happen to just fall into line, which is great. And if anything, I'm not sure how you're going to view it, but for me, when I see that, to me, it's like, you know what? It's meant to happen. It's meant to happen. This was supposed to come into play. This is supposed to be how it is. you know, call me, a romantic, call me out of my mind, call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late for dinner. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, it's been a good little period when I started, this last time, my last episode, and implementing my plans, doing my research and everything else. I'm not going to get into details because, you know, frankly, you don't want to put all your cards out there. So, anyways, the good thing is that it's all coming together. And it can come together for you too if you start by making a plan. Get to figuring out what you want and then start putting the pieces together. Get the ball rolling. Get the ball rolling. And it's interesting how the universe will unfold. But you have to really set your eyes on a target, a goal, where you want to be, and eventually, that's it. Boom. It all comes together. I know. It sounds too good to be true at times, but sometimes it's just as simple as that. Figure out what you want, make a dedication to it, start the plan, go from there. And that's what I did. And I'm happy I did because it's like, awesome. That's one less stress I have to worry about. One step further to the goal of which I want to be at. And that's awesome. And I guess what my point being here, listeners, is I want that for you as well. Sometimes life can get tough. I understand that. But you just have to make a goal and get the ball rolling. I hear in business that the hardest thing is getting started. Most people defeat themselves before they even get started and they give up. And it's amazing that those that actually get over the defeat part and actually just initialize, get things started, they do have success at times. Not all the time, but a lot of the times. And you'll never know unless you get the ball rolling, right? Unless you start. So, anyways, let's just say I'm very happy about this, and it's cool. So, I mean, there's a little bit of work involved on my part, which, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a journey to pick up this great deal. But I think that's awesome. I think it's worth the little trek to do so. But yeah, I think it's the start of something wonderful. It really is. So I am very psyched, and I'll keep you posted. I'll keep you posted of all the good stuff, all the good news. And just like I would like you to as well. If you're struggling with stuff in life, which we all do at times, I would like to hear your success stories. And even if you're looking for advice, even if you're looking for some sort of guidance, by all means, I'm happy to listen. Go to themadmorgan.com. Yes, themadmorgan.com. And go to our contact form and send me a message. Send me a message. Let me know. What your question is or your outcome, your experience, like others have. And I would love to hear it. And I'll even share it if you want on a future episode. But ultimately, I'd love to hear. I like the correspondence. I'd love to hear from people. I really do. I really love to hear, people's views, people's thoughts, people's ideas, people's feedback. I mean, I love getting stuff from my listeners because it really does. Well, first of all, lets me know somebody's out there listening, and by the numbers, I see who's listening. So, I know there's people tuning in, which is cool, which I like that. So I'm not just, speaking to dead air, which is kind of cool. But I really like the fact that these numbers keep going up. And, my experience in the years that I've been doing this is that it is sometimes just a long play, right? It's a long game. You have to start the process and eventually you get exposure. And I've seen that, like when I started during COVID studying the social influencer market, and, all that stuff, I came across people that have been on there for well over a decade before it became a big boom during COVID, right? And it wasn't until COVID that they started getting recognized. And I'm like, wow. So hang on for 1 second. You have been committing your time for a decade. A decade. Can you imagine a decade of putting your voice on air or putting your face on air, on videos, everything else on streams for 10 years just to wait for a world pandemic to actually get recognized? But it goes to show it's just a matter of time. It is just a matter of time. It's a matter of uh, the world changing. It's a matter of a lot of factors that just come into play, which get you to the point where you have more eyeballs on you and people get to know you, which is it's interesting. It really is, because there is something for everybody. You know, just say I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I understand that, and that's fine. You know, I'm fine with that. No big deal. I do this for my own self. If you want to tune in and listen to me babble, go for it. I'm more than happy to keep babbling, right? It's all in good fun. Anyways, back to this. The reality is that, you know, and proof positive, just to give you an idea, like I talked between our last episode and now, I made a plan and I made a goal and I know where I want to be and I know where I have to be, and I got the ball rolling and I put the pieces together, and as you know, like I said, it all came together, you know, which is great. So get that going for yourself. Make up your mind, dedicate to it, start the ball rolling. And it's amazing how, and it's not the first time I've seen this, you know, the pieces will come together. It's like any of the major changes in my life, it's always been a matter of, you know, like that old saying goes, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. So sometimes you just got to make a change, and that change will push things in the right direction. So make a change from what you're doing right now, because that's not changing anything, right? That's not changing anything. Remember, you can't change other people because they're pig-headed and stubborn, right? Everybody wants attention. Everybody thinks they're right. It's just, unfortunately, the way the world is. We're just too wrapped up in ourselves that we don't really think about anything else but our own perspective and our own reality. It's a shame, it is, because we would probably grow a lot more as a species and as a society if we actually opened up to new concepts and ideas and, you know, a lot less selfishness. We'd probably be a lot further ahead. Problem is everybody's wrapped up in their own ideas, their own concepts, their own teachings, their own whatever it is that they've learned over their years, and they just are convinced that they are right and all that stuff like that. I mean, it is what it is. I'm open to change, but, you know, that's just me, because I know who I am, and I'm always willing to accept that there's a new way to go about doing things, but there has to be a request for it or a need for it. If there's not, then you stay the status quo, which I guess goes hand in hand with everybody else thinking the same way they do, because it's the status quo. It's been working so far, so let's do that. But eventually, you got to change things up. Again, this is back to the plan. You make a plan, you change things up, make some sacrifices, make some changes, and things will just, you know, go that route. So, anyways, I wanted to share that with you today. I hope that was somewhat inspiring, somewhat inspirational to help you make your decisions about making a plan to where you want to be. And if you're happy with where you're at, stay where you're at. But let me tell you, from many experiences I can give you for my own situations, make backup plans. Yes, you got what's going on and everything seems to be working, but there's going to come that ball at a left field, right? That ball at a left field, it's going to just screw you up. And if you don't have a contingency plan, that could really make your life interesting, especially if you're later on in life where you don't have as much resilience as you did when you were younger, right? Go, stupid driver. Especially if you're not young anymore, you don't have the resilience. I don't have the resilience. I don't. If my situation that happened like almost 2 years ago was when I was younger, I would bounce back. But it didn't happen when I was younger, right? And at the point I'm at now, I can't really bounce back. So, when I talk to the younger ones and they're like, well, what's your problem? Why don't you just go do something else? Why don't you get in? I'm like, dude, it doesn't work that way. Eventually, you don't have that freshness to you anymore. People don't want to hire you because either insurance claims or liabilities or this or that or a bunch of other stuff. So when companies fuck people over, like I was, it's a big fucking deal. Because it is 10 times as hard as letting go of somebody that was 10 years younger. You get somebody that's north of 50 and tell them, guess what? You have to start again. Well, thanks very fucking much. You just fucked me over 10 times as much as if you let somebody go that was, I don't know, a decade less than I was, who still has a level of freshness. Lots of plans, lots of things between then and now. But as I said in earlier episodes, give up or go forward. So, giving up is not in my vocabulary, so keep going forward. I'm not sure what the incentive is. I'm not sure what the goal is. I'm not sure if it's just people being bullies and being assholes. Why I got put in my current situation. But whatever your situation is, don't let them bring you down. Don't let them bring you down. Okay? Because there's so much ahead that you could do. There's so much life ahead of you to do. There's so much goodness out there that you could do. But you got to figure it out and make sure you have a backup plan other than your original plan. If you're not happy with where you're at, make a new plan. You can do it. You can do it. You just have to stick to it. You have to stick to it, but first of all, figure out what you want. Anyways. So that's about it. I just want to share that good news with you. I'm going in the right direction and I'm happy about it. I've got a lighter step. I'm feeling inspired. I am just really psyched to see how all this unfolds. Like, I'm just beside myself on this one. So I just think it's absolutely awesome. And when my episodes finally catch up to you, because at this point my backlog of podcasts, my episodes and everything else, pretty much is taking me into about the second or third week of November. So about time you hear this particular episode, guess what? It's been a month. You're like a month behind. Eventually, I will get caught up to, the podcast being out kind of on the day, so to speak, kind of on a regular routine. But the thing is that unfortunately, that's just not the way it is right now. I got a backlog because I was only doing 2 days, and then I went to 3 days. Eventually, I'll have to be up to 5 days based on requests and demand, which I'm flattered by. Thank you very much for the requests for more episodes. So eventually, we will catch up where we will have, at worst, a couple of days. A couple of days of difference between podcast being released and recorded and then released. So until then, I'm hoping that when it all catches up, I have the best of news to tell you that, you know what? Plans fully executed. Plans are fully at where they need to be, and life is just golden, because that is the goal, to get things back on track so we don't have another crappy Christmas. That we can actually go out and do stuff and have fun and enjoy ourselves and be merry and everything else. So it'd be awesome. So on that note, I am going to wrap this up. Hey, I'm your host, Mad Morgan. Thank you very much to listening to another episode of Car Musings. Love you for it. Thanks for being here. Keep your integrity in check. Please check out themadmorgan.com, and I will see you next episode. Bye for now.